Okay, so welcome guys again back to this video. There has been some changes since we were last here, so I will just show you the changes first thing around, and then we will get going into building our project. So first thing I realized is instead of redirecting the user back to the 5000, I will redirect them to the front end. So once I have the login details, the redirect URI is simply going to be the front end instead of sending them back to the back end and accessing the data. This way we kind of solve the problem of having to first load the backend and then make sure the data was coming through or not. It's still not a full fix, I think, but it does the job for the time being. I think we made the access token global in the last episode, and I think nothing much has changed in the server since then. I did add a little bit of front end, which was I added a nav bar here. So if I go back in, we can look at the nav bar, components nav bar. Yeah. So basically, all it is really three images to show just some navigation functions such as the home and the mood, and just some styling with some JSX. That's really it. It's very quick, very simple, not much to see in here. And then I also added a login button, if I can't see anywhere this, which is just in the testing phase for now. So if the user is not logged in, they will have the login button, and we click on it, and then it redirects them to the login page, which is the server at our port 5000. So we will leave that there for now. It's not built for now, but I think in the future, once we're nearly done with the project, we will create a new page which will basically check if the user is logged in, show me this login page, otherwise just redirect me to the home page. So that's what we will do, but for now let's see what it looks like. So once you see it, it will actually make sense rather than me explaining it. So let's run these. GitHub localhost 3000. There you go. So that's the nav bar that I made through the thing. So for my button, so it's not logged in right now. It's basically here, as you can see, that's the get data button thing I was saying, but it's just a tag. So if I click on get data, it loads that, and then so we have got the code here, which is the code. But okay, still hasn't solved the problem. I did not realize where I was because I haven't worked on it in a while, so I didn't really realize I did not check for the functionality of actually getting the data. So I'll have to load the 5000 server anyway. So login. No, I don't think that is the problem. I did log in, didn't I? So I think the problem is I have to go 5000 slash playlist data. Nope, it was get playlist data. Okay, that doesn't seem to be working. The what was going on? I can't remember where I got to. Not really sure what's going on here, so I await for the response. Is this a sync function? I don't know what is going on, because I'm pretty sure last time I did it, I was able to get the meta name theme version. That's nothing to do with this. Okay. Okay, let's give it a second and let me figure this out. So I think I have just figured out the problem. So if we have the a tag which goes to the login endpoint, and the login endpoint redirects us to the redirect URI, which is the front end with the 3000 port. So if we click on it, if we load that and say get data, we get the code above. So from this code, what we're gonna do is use this code, pass it to the backend of the 5000 port, and then from that 5000 port we will get our access token. And once we have that access token, we will basically run each of our data point by passing the access token through the URL. So let's just type in auth code URL search params, and then window.location.search. So this is basically grabbing that code that is in the URL and just storing it as auth code. So this will just give us the code that was sent by the Spotify. Um, so what have I got to do now? I guess I can. Oh yeah, that's why the problem was. Just have to make a new object for that. And then now what we will do is, instead of saying get playlist data, we will just pass in our authorization code. Let's just do the backticks here so that we can write the JavaScript in there. So we'll say code. So the question mark just means variable code is going to be our auth code. And now what's going to happen is, when we call that endpoint or when we fetch from it, it will simply go to this endpoint with just a slash, and it will grab the query code, which is the code that we passed in from the URL, which can again is used throughout the function to give us the access token and the refresh tokens, and that again is sent back to the front end as access tokens. So yeah, so just to check, what we will do is log the access token. We will do this both on the front end and the back end, just to make sure that what we are receiving is actually the access token. So we can just compare both of the codes and make sure that the access token we receive is actually the access token that we want. Okay, so backend access token. So let's rerun this. Localhost 3000. Okay, so we go. Let's console log that. And what we see here is just null and the error of fetching access token. This is because we haven't logged in. So we'll just say click on gated data, and that's logged in, and it's okay giving us that access token. So if we just compare the last couple of letters, um, okay, that's fine. Let's see if it is the same in the console. Okay, let's go down, and there we go, 0z. Okay, x0z. So this is exactly the same thing as the front end and the back end. So we are definitely receiving the access token. So now it's just the thing of actually passing this around to get our playlist data. So from here, what we will do is, if we go down to the get playlist data, here also we will grab the authorization code from the query parameter. So this will simply be our access token, even though it is I've just used that as auth code. Let's change that to access token, just to better give it the name. So this will be our access token, and simply this function will use the access token through the, and that was passed through the URL. There will be a lot of cleaning up to do later on because I have access token everywhere. But for now, let's say that, and what we will say is if our response is okay, so if we get the correct response, the authorization code, then we will basically grab the access token, which we have already done, and with it inside it is the same logic again. So we will just say if, so what we will say is our response for the await that we're going to do. Let me just think about this. Hmm. So response. So okay. So instead of saying response, what we'll say is we will have a response from the playlist. So we'll just call it a playlist response, and simply that is fetching the data from our get playlist, which, so what we will do is just basically fetch the data from the get playlist by passing in the access token, and then what we will say, if our playlist response is okay, then we will simply get the data from that playlist response as a JSON, and we will also set the playlist, we will set the playlist data in our use state with the actual data so we can map over it later. So basically, I think we have sorted out the problem with getting the data to the front end. So from next time, all we can do is just making sure that our front end works properly. So we will be using this React for most of it because our data is already, we've got it. So what I want to really use is the GitHub from my previous project, which I did in Flask, the same project. The main reason for me doing Node.js and React and everything is just to learn JavaScript and also get a better understanding of what I'm building, because last time I just used a module and just followed a tutorial, and I feel like I did not fully understand it, and it was also um, I don't really know, I don't think it was a complete app. It had a lot of errors, so I basically did not work properly. So as you can see on the screen, that's what the final project will look like. So this is the main screen with all the playlists and the top artist of the user. If you click on a playlist, then you get list of all the tracks, and these tracks are also clickable with the song. So you click on a song and it will show you all the acousticness, liveness, and all the data. We've already managed to get a lot of these data into our backend, so it will just be about really displaying it to the user. So I think that's what we are looking forward to. I will just be using a lot of the HTML CSS kind of things I wrote before, and convert them into React components instead of having to rewrite it, because HTML CSS and just JSX, those things is not really my focus for this project. It's more about just implementation and understanding authorization, accessing APIs, and basically that. So with that, I think for now that this is all good. Just we will be back and we will be focusing mostly on displaying the user data, making it look all nice, and we'll have fun. I'll see you in the next one.